There's a doctor by the name of Deepak Chopra. He did some amazing research, and he found some things that I have shared before, but I'm sharing for posterity. I think that's the right word. If not, somebody will correct me. And I'm sharing what he found. And he said, and I quote, hold on to your seatbelts, an estimated 6 trillion reactions are taking place in each of your cells every second. You know how long a second is? Click, there it is. A second. That means 6 trillion reactions were taking place in each of your cells. Your stomach, your liver, your heart, your lungs, and your brain. Yes, they've discovered that brain cells can be replaced as well. That did not used to be the discovery, but it's proven now. In fact, you dump gallons of plaque from your brain while you are asleep, which is very, very important that you get a lot of sleep. Rest in that bed 2 hours before midnight. No food 3 hours before you go to bed. And now you go to bed pretty calm, right? You go to sleep. Then you go into your rest mode where God can do bloodless surgery on you. And now you wake up calm again and you start the process all over again. And those are the mornings that when you wake up, you don't say, oh God, it's morning. No, you say, thank God it's morning. Ready to face another day that you have made and enjoy every aspect of it. And be the blessing that you're called into this world to be. And to receive blessings as well. Don't leave you out. When you praying for others, put you in there too. We always need prayer, don't we? And remember, when you do petition prayer, which is asking and not begging, because his prayers to him come as commands, and all of them are already answered, all you have to do is tell him once. One time. He heard you the first time you drove up. You don't have to ask him again. He has a great memory. In fact, you're trying to get some of that, right? And when he gets part of your mind, of his mind. But guess what? All we have to do now is say thank you. Every morning as part of our attitude of gratitude, we thank him for what we already sent in the order for. Because it's an order, it's a command. And guess what else is happening? These places, like your stomach, liver, heart, lungs, and brain, are being replaced as quickly and endlessly as they're being broken down. The skin, oh my goodness, all these creams and potions and serums and lotions, the skin replaces itself without them once a month. The stomach lining replaces itself every 5 days. The liver replaces itself every 6 weeks, and the skeleton replaces itself every 3 months. To the naked eye, these organs look the same from moment to moment, but they are always in flux. By the end of this year, fiscal year, every fiscal year, 98% of the atoms in your body will be exchanged for new ones. End of quote. Thank you, Dr. Deepak Chopra. What absolutely amazing research you did. Now, all of this potential, and I do say potential, of restoration on all levels, again, including body, soul, spirit, depend on what the cell is fed and the environment in which it is allowed to live and multiply in, which is called your cellular soup or your terrain. Each cell knows its assignment, and when given all the basics, it makes 2 more just like it. What kind of cells are you, second by second, making? Know this: the power that made your body has the power to heal your body. And you may hear me say that another time. So, with all of this restoration potential, what is really going on? If you cut your finger, it bleeds, right? A scab forms, and guess what? You look up one day, and it's not even any evidence that you ever were bleeding or being cut. Isn't that miraculous? How the body can take care of itself? Did you know that your body makes 2.5 million red blood cells every second and 250,000 white blood cells every second? There are 50 to 75 trillion cells, we've already said that, right, in the body. And the nervous system controls it as the master control system of it all, which tells you how dangerous and potentially even harmful, using the word harmful and dangerous, that stress can be when you allow it in your life. And I did say allow it, because I've heard my mentor, Jill Diamond, say all the time, we are too blessed, rather. I'm sorry, Jill. We are too blessed to be stressed. So that means accepting stress is a choice, is it not? Keeping in mind that we allow people to burden us to the point because we give them the impression that their lack of preparation has constituted or created an emergency for us. And doesn't that create stress? When we're doing things that we really don't want to do, we're not getting a blessing for it anyway. So don't do anything that you don't want to do, that you can't get joy from. Don't do it, because you are the one that will suffer. A single neuron can handle as many as 833 impulses per second. Your liver performs over 657 known functions simultaneously without you even being aware of it. I used to think it was over 500, but now they've discovered, oh no, 500 is old news. It's now 657. The miracle. Now guess what? That number one thing, as I stated briefly, that you always want to be on guard for is stress, as it impedes our healing path. Stress carries a potential to kill and never allow the body to heal. Now, on our wellness team at the Body Workshop, we know that restoration comes with an effort, not work, but effort. And the effort has to be consistent for you to get the results that you seek. You can't hop on and off of a program and think that you're going to get the miracle. Even though there are miracles going on every day, you have to believe in the miracle being happening for you. But I've heard of somebody that didn't even believe that it was going to happen, and it did. So where are you on there? That's up to you. But we know for a fact that we have a wellness team here at the Body Workshop. And it's effective only as the user makes it so. 1 Corinthians 1:27, 3:16, and 13:11. Read those scriptures because you'll want to have them in your catalog of things to remember. There are basic wellness team members that apply to all seeking abundant health, and others are employed as needed along the way. Now, know this. We always move towards whatever we think and say. Whatever you say, you call into your life. What are you thinking? Are you thinking about what you're thinking about? Are you thinking about what you said just a few minutes ago? Are you thinking about what you're getting ready to say to someone, that you may have to try to put the toothpaste back in the tube after you say it? Think about it. Because if you think about it long enough, you're going to say it. And if you say it too many times, in fact, say it once, and it's on its way to you, just like a boomerang. That's something to think about, isn't it? Something to think about, isn't it? Okay. Thank you. Got a quote from the audience that says, thoughts are things. Thanks, Francis. Dietary considerations. Changes here are vital for most and are determined based on the need. Some people can eat 10 pounds of cheese, and guess what? They may just have a little mucus that morning. Another person eat a bite of cheese, and they'll have almost an attack from the lungs and the head. We are much alike as different. So there's some basic things that we have to look at. And one of the first things we look at when we're looking at the diet is the consumption of dairy, sugar, and animal protein, and the lack of plant protein in your life. Just look at those things. I'm not going to take your food from you. I'm not going to make an enemy out of you. Okay? But I'm telling you, there's some basics you need. You need some broccoli at least twice a week. You need some salmon a couple of times a week. You need to put some good olive oil, whether it be from olives or avocados. You need to put, what else is this vital that you can put it? Oh, you need even a little dark chocolate, but it has to be 70% cocoa, and that's going to be an acquired taste. Now, that's just a few things that you want to be sure that you include every day. You want to be sure you get some good green vegetables along with the broccoli. And you want to always, always add plenty of good water. Now, that's just a few things that came off the top of my head. We're going to take questions at the end.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Write your question down because we're going to take it at the end. Then there's a movement. Now, you know with me, I think the best water is Kangen water. And I love the fact that we have a machine that you can put right in your home and have that water available to you, because it's only stable 7 to 10 days anyway. So you want to be sure that you get that water at your home, able to have it at your ready availability. You can even use it in the beauty water. I use it every day on my face. That's why I look so young, huh?
Yeah, that's amazing.
If I don't blow my horn, who will? I work hard to make it look like I didn't work so hard. Okay, then the next one is moving and breathing. Get online, find out what diaphragmatic breathing is, and get you some movement. The best movement in the world for me is the rebounder, and read about that too. How about rest and relaxation and sleep? We already talked a little bit about that, but you got to get to that REM level sleep. The body cannot heal with these elements not daily in place. And that room has to be dark so it can release the melatonin. And if you don't have it dark enough, sleep in a mask. I do. And I tell you, you'll get the kind of sleep that you need. Then a supplementation, vitamins, minerals, herbs, all the good reasons. Because guess what? Herbs are nature's remedies. They're put here by an all-wise creator. The herbs feed. They regulate. They absolutely cleanse. They energize. They build, and they assist in the healing process. Let's look at where all that information came from. And it started in Genesis. In fact, it was Genesis 12:29 when it told us that herbs are first source of food from God. Then you flip over to Ezekiel 47:12, and it says herbs are first source of medicine from God. And then last but certainly not least, over in the New Testament, the end time book, Revelations, tells us 22:2 says that herbs are final source of medicine from God for the healing of the nations. So that tells me that there's going to come a time when we are going to have to know what herbs we need for survival. Not just existence at this time, but literally survival. And then there's vitamins and minerals, the foundation to be laid to build a house to withstand and overcome the storms of living. And when you're doing vitamin therapy, you have to lay the foundation with a multiple vitamin. Women need iron in the worst ways if they're still bleeding, but a man can get away with a multiple vitamin without iron, unless he too may have been diagnosed as being anemic. Okay? But women, you need the iron because you bleed every month and you don't want to become anemic. Now, how about some good old oxygen? We offer O2 here as a stabilizer, but I'm finding that you can also get it from many other places. There are now even oxygen bars. Yes, places that you can actually step up to the bar and order oxygen. How about that world? Okay. Then, of course, don't forget, we have things that are for people to get over the bridge that the doctor might be able not to help you with. And I don't want anyone to think I'm anti-doctor, because I'm not. Because there have been those doctors, the good ones, they have helped us over many bridges of troubled water. And they may be able to help us at another time. But once they do all they can do, now you have to cut that part of it away from you. And now you do what you are being taught to do. And that is you being responsible for your body and using the tools that have been put here naturally for you. How about aromatherapy and essential oils? They are considered a life force of plant life. And guess what? They have always been here through time. From seeds, from roots, from resin, from flowers, from stems, from stem barks and fruits. Used in so many ways, whether applied or inhaled. In combination with herbs, they can play a major role. In fact, they can be the link that locks a program in. The oils can actually make the difference emotionally, spiritually, and physically. From reducing stress to boosting immunity and promoting detoxification. They are antibacterial, they are antiseptic, they are antiviral, and used for thousands of years. And in fact, there are over 188 references to oils in your daily Bible that I'm sure you're reading every day. And then, of course, there's flower essence, right? The essence of the flowers, good again for body cleansing, detox. And of course, we have the ionic foot soap, which is here to help the body in ways that are too much to describe. I can't make any claims about the detox process when you put your foot in a bucket of water and then something goes in there to increase your energy and your circulation and all of a sudden things begin to change. I have no explanation for that, and I'm not even going to attempt to give one. All I want you to do is once you have experienced it, then you can say what it did for you. And nobody or anyone in this world can deny what happened with you. And that's how I look at herbs, vitamins, minerals, oils, all of it. I know where it brought me from. Nobody can argue with me. My personal testimony of natural healing alternatives is mine. You have to get yours. And then, of course, I do energy balancing too, a process of sweeping the body, literally unblocking those things that keep you from healing even faster. And then there's a thing called crisis. Yep, that's the time when you're feeling great, everything's going well, and then all of a sudden, bam, you crash. And then you start thinking, that woman that gave me those herbs, she must be out of her mind. I feel worse today than I did when I met her. I hope that lady wasn't me. But if it was, my explanation is it's called crisis. Because the body heals like an onion peels. And you can feel so good. And the body feels like it has enough energy to take you through a crisis of healing. So as the onion peels, you're walking in what we call reversal. And you're going backwards through all of the things that you sometimes didn't even know you were going through on the down path. Now you're going up. You may not feel great, but you have to tell yourself, this too shall pass. And it usually lasts from 3 days to 2 weeks. Yeah, it can last as much as 2 weeks. And the number one thing that you want to call on during a crisis is an enema. Yes, one lady called it an enema. I had never heard that before, so I had to look it up. And guess what it found out to be? Enema. Okay? But don't, you know what that comes from? That comes to that whole part in Hosea, lack of knowledge. She had never heard of an enema before. And so she called it an enema. I tell you, we're here to help, aren't we? In every way that we can. So the crisis says it must come for some of us. And some of us go through it and don't even know that we're going through. So now, with all of these possibilities for healing, with all of this help that the body is, that is available to us to help the process, why do we have still in 2021 a top 10 killer list that was established in 1989? And I do not believe it's any better today. In fact, I would hazard to believe it's worse. The top one being heart disease, then cancer, then strokes, then accidents from airplanes and cars and things like this. How about chronic lung disease, pneumonia, and influenza? And let me stop there for a moment. I am of the opinion that to get a toe tag that says cause of death being pneumonia, it's got to be one of the most grievous causes of death in the world. Because for me, this is a stage, a process that the body has went through when it was not allowed to complete the cleansing cycle. When your body's defenses come up from recognizing a virus or a bacteria, the defense goes in, and as I stated before, the body becomes symptomatic. Well, if we don't allow the symptoms, so-called symptoms, or cries for help to complete its cycle, it goes on undisturbed to the next cycle. And each one is burying what should have left the first time. And as it gets deeper and deeper into the body, the lungs become overwhelmed. They are so full of mucus and plaque until you can't even pull the mucus up from the bottom of the lungs. And now, on the way there, you could have been diagnosed with pneumonia. And as there are many efforts made to stop the process, your body keeps insisting, and then the tug-of-war starts, and all too often you lose. Something to think about. Diabetes is next. Suicide, number 8. Do you know that we're the only thing that God created that has a chip for suicide? Nothing else that he creates attempts to kill himself, like his own precious humans. And then there's liver diseases and cirrhosis. Such a hard working organ. But then it also is the organ that can be restored in the easiest way. How about homicide and legal interventions? They are number 10. But what do we hear on the news? Killings all the time. Things have changed, haven't they? There are more mass killings now than ever before in the history of this country. It's almost like a daily thing. You turn on your news and you hear about another one. What do you think could be going on that so many people want to just leave themselves, but they don't want to leave alone? They want to take others with them. How sad. How sad. Also, make note. Sometimes you get a little emotional when you think about things, don't you? Okay. Each year, upwards of 100,000 people who go to the hospital for some other treatment die from infections contracted while in the hospital. Recent scientific, nutritional, and medical research indicates that free radical damage, together with poor nutrition, results in vitamin, mineral, and enzyme deficiency, which causes and or contributes to premature aging, disease, and death. Now, before we close, that's my presentation today. Take this seat here beside me and ask your question. So now you're on camera. Come up a little bit more so they can see you. There we go. Okay, now ask your question.
Hi, I wanted to know what can I take besides iron pills to boost my iron level?
Good. Now, were you diagnosed with anemia?
I was before, but recently, after I had my second baby, they didn't say anything about anemia.
Okay.
But I'm vegan.
Okay, wonderful. She's got a head start, right? Now, you're being, okay, now I can check your seat again.
Okay.
We are told most of our life that we have to get certain things from liver. Well, let me just share one quick thing about liver. Liver is your grab all the crap organ, right? And it, remember we said, we sorts through and sends it out to the past. Well, if it does it for us, what do you think it does for the animal? I'm just wondering. So if the animal grabs up all the trash around him and it's in his liver, isn't that interesting? I don't care whether we eat it as dessert, God forbid, or appetizer, or what we do? Oh, we flour it, salt and pepper it, season it some more, then get some grease and put it in a good hard skillet, fry it hard, put some onions in there and some gravy. That's how I used to eat liver. And I bet there's still a lot of you out there still eating it the same way. Well, guess what? You're still eating the trash that the animal ate. So that's not the only way we get good things is from liver. Okay? But speaking of that, one of the things that we want to do to keep our blood good and rich is not only do we want to make sure we keep our iron stores up, but there's a liquid called chlorophyll. And it's a green liquid right out of the earth. And it's amazing to me. I did a research study on chlorophyll one time. And I started listing all of the things that I'd heard that chlorophyll does. And guess what? When I did the research, here it is. Thank you. Can you see that? It's called liquid chlorophyll. The title looks a little backwards on there, but it is liquid chlorophyll, okay? And guess what I discovered? All of the things that were reported that chlorophyll does, there was no proof that it did it. Now, was that amazing?
Yeah, just like you said, the herbs.
Yes. You never know what herbs are going to do when you're using them. But there is a whole list, a sheet that I can supply for you if you just send me a self-stuffed envelope. I will tell you share with you all the things that chlorophyll will do for you. But it also will help you to cause the body to build its iron stores. Now, you have to be careful when you're buying iron. Let's show our iron. Because iron, believe me, has a history of constipating people, right? And so the reason that you have to be very careful, you got that bottle? We're looking for a bottle so I can show you ours, because it's very different, our iron is. And you have to be very selective that you don't get the wrong kind of iron. Or now, while she's looking for the iron, I want to let you know that as we close out, we have another question. There it is. And this is called, as you can see, can you see that? Yeah, there it is. That's the magic word on the iron. And it's called chelated or chelated, okay? And when you look on the back of the bottle, it tells you that this is an iron from ferrous gluconate. It does not have sulfate. Sulfate is from synthetics. Gluconate is not. And the word that is chelated means it is pre-digested so that your body can receive the elements from the iron without giving you the constipation. So that's how you want to just learn to shop wise. That's all. And am I saying we've got the best of everything? Well, just because I think so, that doesn't mean that there are not other good brands out there. But I challenge any brand to be able to even think that they can compete with the quality of Nature's Sunshine. And that's why I've stayed with them for, I'm not going to tell you how long, but it's been a very, very long time. Okay. It's been a very long, it's actually been over 40 years that I've been with Nature's Sunshine. I know. I actually look like a baby, huh? Fishing for another compliment. Okay, so now we want to announce too. We have one more question. My able assistant Roz says that she has a question. You had a question, Francis? Come up here. You have to come up here. Take the hot seat. You're making your national debut.
Okay. I was very curious why cocoa is needed.
About why cocoa? Okay. Okay.
Cocoa
Lean in. Okay. Now I'm going to give you some homework, and I'm giving the world some homework. Don't turn it this way a little bit. There we go. There we go. Make sure you see her. No. There. Perfect. Okay.
Because I'm the speaker.
Yes.
Okay. Well.
Okay. So cocoa is absolutely a wonderful ingredient. And I believe that it's good to send a little homework out and let somebody do some research. And when we come back together, I want you to tell me why it's good to put cocoa in your life. And it is an acquired taste, believe me.
I be shopping at Trader Joe's, and they have a selection of
That's good.
chocolates. And I used to be in love with just milk chocolate until I found out milk is chocolate
Yes.
and all that good.
And sugar.
Yeah, and then when I learned about dark chocolate, I said, oh, this is the best. I'm just going to stay with dark chocolate. Now you throw in cocoa.
Well, cocoa makes it dark chocolate. It's the same.
Oh.
See, you're talking dark chocolate, but the ingredient that makes it rich is called cocoa or cocoa.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's why I said look it up, so that as you look it up, you're going to get educated, right? Then you're going to come back with more information than I have. And I'm going to get educated even more.
So
And remember, it is an acquired taste.
Oh.
Because it's not like milk chocolate.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay, thank you, Francis.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have one last question from my assistant, Roz.
My question is, earlier you was mentioning about how each organ, it takes so much time for them to heal itself. So what I gather from it is if I'm taking in like the herbal supplement to correct the problem, and I take it long enough within that time of my cells healing itself, so it's going to help get it back to normal.
Absolutely, it has that potential. But see, keep this in mind. The body is very, very, almost like scheduled. I can't think of another word whether to say it any better than that. But it works in very methodical ways. And when it's attempting to heal itself, you give it all the things that it needs. And then you give it time to do what you're wanting it to do. You've already put that out there, what you desire. You're thinking about it and thanking for it every day. But it does cycles. That's the word I was looking for. So we believe that in 90 days, your herbs have penetrated the bloodstream effectively. Now, it takes another 30 days for it to penetrate the cell. Now, if in fact you are using hydrating, alkalinizing water, the water waves that open up the cell to hydrate can get the herbs in there even more effectively and efficiently. Another reason to good water, okay? And now you have to add another 1 month for every 1 month for every 10 years of life. Why? Because we don't know, did the problem that you are expressing, was it there at birth? Did it happen in the womb? Not looking for any blame, but just saying these are the circumstances you have to consider. So with all of that, we say, let's do it this way. Let's do 90 basic days, then 1 more month for every 10 years of life. Then after you reach that point, you can start looking at things that you want to discontinue and see how your body responds. Now, there are some of us that have reached an age where we started with the herbs and supplements and things a little later than I'm asking all of you to consider. And so that means for me, there's a good possibility that 100% healing may well not be in my present, but who knows what my future is. I can believe for it, but whether it is or not, I'm going to continue maintaining and doing the things that I need to do on a daily basis to be sure that I don't get in trouble. Now, this is my disclaimer, which I probably should have did at the very beginning, and it basically says that I am never attempting to diagnose or prescribe for anyone but myself. I take responsibility for me, for my wellness program, body, soul, spirit. I also accept the responsibility any of my family members, loved ones, customers, or clients give to me with a signed waiver. But you, on an individual basis, you have to do the same for yourself and your family. I'm not willing to take on the responsibility that you have unless you're asking me just for suggestions and help. But your wellness has to be your responsibility. And again, as stated, it is only going to be as effective as you are consistent. So there it is.